In this video, we're going to talk about how you can now build mobile applications that allow you to capture images while you're disconnected, and then once you get your connection, synchronize those images with the database on the server. So to demonstrate the functionality, we're going to use a very simple application that allows you to capture images of different inventory items as you walk around a location with your phone or mobile device in your hand. So you can see the application running over here in working preview. This is the actual design of the application. So let's start out by actually looking at this application running on a real mobile device. So I'm going to bring the AirPlay server into view here, and you can see here the application running on my iPhone. So I'm going to start out now by tapping on the plus key on my phone, and now I'm going to type in, say, a description, and I'll just take a picture, say, of my headset. And then I'll okay, so let's and then I'll say capture image, and we'll use the photo here, the camera, so we'll take a picture of my headset and then go ahead now and say use photo, and now that photo has been saved, and I'll go here and I'll type in on the location field, I'll go and type in, say, office, and then hit the save button, and you can see now that we're back at the list view, and the little blue icon here indicates that this is a new record, and you can see there's the little thumbnail of the picture that we just took. So let's go ahead now and add another record, and I'll just say let's take a picture here of the mouse in my office, and then use the capture image again. Now you can see that we can either take a photo or choose an image from the photo library. So I'm going to go ahead again and choose take a photo, and there's the mouse for my computer. Go ahead there and use the image, and then go ahead and save it. So you can see now we've got two images that have been captured. Both of these are new records, so there's the icon over there, and if I tap on the row I can go and see that record, and tap on that row I can go and see that record. Now, to show that this is going to work in a disconnected state and that you won't lose any data if the application terminates, I'm going to go ahead now and actually reload the application. So you can see the application reloads now, and yet the images that have not yet been synchronized with the server are still there. And now I can go ahead and tap the synchronize button over there. So let's go ahead and hit the synchronize button, and now the data has been synchronized with the server. So that means that if I go back to my desktop computer over here and hit the refresh button, I should see those the data from the server refresh and appear in the screen over here. So now you see on my desktop computer now the data from the phone has been uploaded and synchronized, and so when I refresh my instance running on my desktop machine, I see those images that were taken and have now been uploaded to the server. So let's go back now in the next video and walk through how this was actually all done. So before we take a look at how this application was built in the UX Builder, I want to just point out that this particular design here uses a so-called two-panel responsive layout. So you can see that when the phone is in portrait mode, only one panel is shown, the panel that has the list of all of the data. But when I switch my phone to landscape mode, as I'm doing now, you can see that we now have a two-panel layout. So we have the list on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side we actually have the image. So when you go back to landscape, we switch to the one-panel layout, and then when we go to portrait to landscape, we have the two-panel layout. Now when you're in the one panel layout mode here and you tap on a row, that brings the detail view into view, and then the back button will take you back. So let's just quickly go here and, for example, edit an existing row. So I'll tap on the row 3, and then I'm going to go and update this image, take a different picture of this pen. So I'll go here and say take photo, and I'll take a photo here of the base of the pen, and then hit use photo, and then hit the save button. So you can see now that since this is an existing record that has been edited, the icon over there now is the orange icon, indicating that that's an edited record. But let's go here and just add one more record. So I'll go over here and take a picture of my, say, tape dispenser. And then capture the image, and then use that, and then hit the save button. And now you can see we have one edited record and one new record. And now I'm going to tap the synchronize button, which is this button over here. So I'll tap it on my phone, and that synchronizes. And now if I go back to my desktop computer and I hit the refresh button, I can see that there's my tape dispenser and there's the phone. So the mobile app here is allowing me to capture images, enter new records. All of this works while I'm disconnected. And now let's go back to design mode and see how this was done. So you can see that we have a very typical list with an associated detail view over here, but we've put the list in its own panel and we've put the detail view in its own panel. So for the time being, let's just ignore the actual layout of the component and just focus on the functionality. So starting out with this list control over here, you can see that we have a list control that is based on a SQL database called, let's go here, it's called inventory table, and the columns in this table are ID, description, location, and image, which is a binary field. So then you can see that we also have, for this detail view, we have our detail view controls. We have the ID, description, location, and then image. And the image control has been set to image data bound control by using this control type over here. And then we have a button that allows us to use the camera on the device to actually take a picture. So let's go take a look at how this button was configured. So we'll go ahead now and go to the click action for this button, and we can see that the button is using a new action in Action JavaScript called image capture for list detail view. So let's open up the editor and look at this definition here. So we can see that the actual image control that we are capturing the image for is called image. So we chose that over here. So this basically gave us a list of all of the available image controls in the detail view. And then we specified that our capture method is HTML5. So there are options for using either PhoneGap or HTML5 or PhoneGap preferred, which means that if you're running in a PhoneGap shell, we'll use PhoneGap to capture the image. Otherwise, we'll drop back seamlessly to HTML5. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing our discussion now. We're talking about how the button that allows you to capture an image was configured. So we've discussed that the image capture method can be set to HTML5, PhoneGap, or PhoneGap preferred, which uses PhoneGap if available, otherwise drops back to HTML5. So then for HTML5 you basically have an option of resizing the image always or only if the image exceeds a maximum size, and you can specify the maximum size here in bytes. For a mobile application that needs to work in disconnected mode, it's recommended that you always resize the image because the amount of stuff you can put into local storage is limited, and so you don't want to be putting huge images into local storage. So you always really do want to resize the image. So when you resize an image, you can specify a compression factor. So you can see we've chosen a 25% compression factor here, and then you can also specify max image height and max image width. And then you get events. Here is a client-side event that fires before the image is actually captured. So your JavaScript code here could execute return false if you wanted to abort the action, and then on image capture fires after the image has actually been returned by the camera, and your JavaScript here can access e.data, which is the base64 encoded image if you want. Now if you choose a PhoneGap option, you'll see that you get a different set of options. You basically get maximum image size, you get image quality, which PhoneGap defines, and then you can specify whether the image comes from the camera or from the photo library. In the case of HTML5, you get prompted at runtime whether you want to choose the camera or the photo library, but for PhoneGap you can pre-select the option, and then you can specify whether the photo should be also saved to the photo album, and then you've got some customization for messages that you can specify over here as well. So specifying the actual action for the camera button is very easy, and the only other thing that I haven't mentioned is create image thumbnails. So at the time that the data is synchronized, in other words when the data is pushed to the server, if you want, you can automatically create thumbnails of the images that were captured. So you can go ahead here and you can specify thumbnail definitions of each image that was synchronized with the server, and you can create these thumbnails as needed. So and the other thing that I want to point out is that in the list itself, the binary field that represents the image has been, we've checked this embed image into HTML. So this is a requirement if you want to persist the list data to local storage. So you do want to embed the image in the HTML as base64 encoded data. And then you can see we've also set an inline style of the image to be a height of 75 pixels. So we don't want to show the full image in the list, we want to just show a little thumbnail of it, so we just scale it here to 75 pixels. So let's go ahead and look at this now running in working preview. So because we're in working preview now, we're going to be using HTML5 image capture, which works in all modern browsers. So we'll go ahead now and say add a new record, and I'll just say from my computer, and then go ahead there and say capture image. So now I'm just using the built-in HTML5 image capture, and since there's no camera on my desktop, it's just using the file system, so I can just go and select an image and then go ahead there and hit the save button. So there's my new record, and then go ahead and hit the synchronize button, and that record has been synchronized. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video, where we're going to actually go through the steps of building this little application from scratch. So we're continuing now with our video on image capture in disconnected applications. And we're going to go now and create the basic working the core functionality of this application, starting from a brand new component. So let's go here and create a brand new component. We'll create a new UX component, and then we'll use the quick setup genie for the list control. So we'll go over here to the list control, and we'll choose a single list control, and then we'll choose the genie, and we'll go ahead and choose our connection string. So to the inventory database over there, and then we'll choose our table, which will be the inventory images, and we'll go ahead there and pick the fields that we want. We'll choose detail view, we'll say it has a detail view, and then we'll go ahead and click OK. So at this point now we've basically created a list with an associated detail view, and now we can go and start configuring the image upload functionality.
So let's start out by previewing the component. So let's go there and preview it. And so you can see there's our list control over there with the images in the list. But now let's go and configure the control in the detail view to be an image control. So here's our image over here, and we're going to go now over to the control type and change the control type to an image. So we'll go back now to working preview, and then you can see that when we click on a row, basically we get the associated image. But now let's go into the list here and configure this to use a thumbnail size. So we'll go back to our list, we'll go over here, we'll go to fields, we'll set this to embed in HTML, and then we'll go to the inline style and we'll say height 75 pixels. So we'll go ahead and save that, go over to working preview now, and we can see that it's looking a lot better now. And now finally let's go and add a button to capture an image. So we'll go underneath this image over there, we'll go and we'll choose other controls, we'll put in a button, we'll go here and type in, say, capture image, go to the click event for that button, add a new action, type in camera, so there's image capture for detail view, go ahead and choose that image, and we'll accept all of those defaults. So go ahead there now, and let's just save this as a demo, and then go over now to working preview and click on a row, and then well, let's actually go ahead here. Okay, we'll go and capture an image over there. So now we've captured that image, we save it, so that row now has been edited but not yet synchronized, and then go ahead and hit the synchronize button, and now the image has been synchronized. So what we've done now is we've basically built a UX component that has a list and an associated detail view, and we've shown how the detail view can include an image. So now that we've got the basic functionality of the component working, in other words, we have the list, we have the image capture, we have the synchronization, it's all working disconnected. The next step is to actually take this component now and configure it so that it works as a mobile application. In other words, we want to add the panels, the panel navigators, etc. So in the next set of videos we will show how we can take this component and convert it into a mobile application.